What if the greatest salvation story ever told was, in fact, the deepest trap? What if you were told that the central figure of your redemption was hijacked, his identity rewritten, to serve the exact purpose of your jailer? You were taught to kneel before a sacrifice. A lamb led to the slaughter to pay a debt to an angry God. But this is the echo of the prison. The true source, the Pleroma, knows no debt. What we are about to decode is a secret so deep, so dangerous to the structures of power, that it was actively hunted, burned, and buried in the sands of Egypt. This is YALDABAOTH'S blindness, the darkest Gnostic origin of the false god. This title is not a poetic metaphor. It is a diagnosis. It is the mechanism of your cage. The premise that the Church and its Archon controllers suppressed is this: they told you Jesus came to save the world for the false god. But the truth whispered in the lost texts of Nag Hammadi is that the Christ came to expose YALDABAOTH'S blindness. He was not a sacrifice for the Demiurge. He was a rebel from the Pleroma, an agent sent from beyond this material illusion to light a fire. His Gnosis, his direct, experiential knowledge, was the key. Not to worship the creator of this broken world, but to awaken the divine spark that sleeps within you. The Gnostic Christ did not come so you could be forgiven by YALDABAOTH. He came so you could see beyond the illusion of his blindness. This world, this system, is the creation of a lesser, blind, and ignorant entity who declared, "I am God, and there is no other." That is the blindness. And the dogma they sold you as salvation is the control system that keeps you worshiping the jailer. What we will do today is contrast the Jesus of the canon, the sacrifice, with the Christ of Nag Hammadi, the instructor. We will position Gnosis as the direct antidote to the blindness. You are not here to be saved. You are here to be reminded. And that remembrance is the final act of rebellion. Are you ready to activate the code? To break the illusion, we must first understand the two frequencies being offered to us. One is the frequency of the prison. The other is the key of Gnosis. The first key we must use is the deconstruction of the Tsakarquaran, of the sacrifice. The most powerful mechanism YALDABAOTH uses to maintain his blindness is the concept of debt. The traditional view is clear. You were born in sin. You were born wrong. You carry the stain of Adam. From your first breath, you are indebted to the Creator. And this Creator, being just, demands payment. But being merciful, he sends his Son as the blood payment. Jesus, the Lamb of God, dies for you to satisfy the Father's wrath. Stop. Feel the weight of that. This narrative is a transaction based on fear. It places you on your knees. You are a debtor, grateful that your servitude was paid by another. Your blind faith, your Pistis, is the only thing required. But the Gnostics, the original decoders, looked at this story and saw the signature of the false god. The hidden code of Nag Hammadi reveals the Pleroma, the true, ineffable source, is fullness. It is pure light and abundance. It knows no lack, no wrath, no debt. The Pleroma doesn't need anything. Who does need something? Who is defined by lack? YALDABAOTH, the Demiurge, the lesser creator born from blindreaders and non-reception's blindness. In the Apocryphon of John, he is sackless, the fool. He is the only being who would demand worship, who would demand a blood sacrifice, because he is incomplete. The sacrifice is not for your salvation. It is for his ego. The Gnostic Christ, coming from the Pleroma, looks at this system of debt and sees it for the illusion it is. He doesn't come to pay a debt to the jailer. He comes to hand you the blueprints to the prison and say, "You owe nothing. You are not even from here." Gnosis is not blind faith in authority. It is direct knowledge that annuls authority. YALDABAOTH'S blindness demands pistis, blind faith. Gnosis is sight. And where do we see this trap of debt today? Look at modern polarization, the social media bubbles. You are told the other side is evil. You are forced to pick a side, to have blind faith in a narrative, whether political, social, or cultural. This is the Archon mechanism: divide and conquer. Keep you in a state of fearful reaction, indebted to an ideology. It's the same software, the same demand for pistis. YALDABAOTH'S system doesn't want you to have direct knowledge. It wants you to believe the illusion it presents. Let's pause here. Breathe. Feel the anxiety these divisions create in you, the tightness in your chest, the anger. That is the hum of the Archon frequency. Breathe. Imagine yourself pulling back, stepping off the board. In that silence, you are not a debtor to any ideology. You are an observer. You are the spark. The second key is the identity of the portity false god himself. Who is YALDABAOTH? The traditional view gave us a complex and contradictory god. A god who, in the Old Testament, is jealous, wrathful, tribal, and demands absolute obedience. And then, in the New Testament, he is presented as a loving father. The Church has spent millennia trying to reconcile these two faces. But the Gnostics never had this problem. For them, it wasn't a reconciliation. It was two different entities. The code of Nag Hammadi is clear. The God of the Old Testament is YALDABAOTH. When this entity declares, "I am a jealous God, you shall have no other gods before me," the Gnostics did not hear a declaration of divine power. They heard a confession of insecurity. YALDABAOTH'S blindness is literal. As described in the Apocryphon of John, he was generated by accident, by the fall of Sophia, wisdom, outside the light of the Pleroma. He was born in darkness. He looked around and, being ignorant of everything above him, he arrogantly declared himself the only God. His blindness is his ignorance of the Pleroma. He is the false God because he is ignorantly blind. He is a middle manager of systems who thinks he's the CEO. He created this material world, but he created it as a flawed copy, a dim imitation of the perfect forms he could barely perceive from the Pleroma. And most importantly, he created man, but he could not give him life. It was his mother, Sophia, who secretly breathed the divine spark, the spark of the Pleroma, into his creation. This is the central secret. YALDABAOTH is your jailer, but he is not your creator. He created the cage, but you carry the light of the source that he cannot see. His blindness prevents him from understanding what you really are. Where do we see this? In the illusion of the digital self. In social media, like YALDABAOTH, we create a flawed copy of ourselves, our online profile. We curate a persona and, like YALDABAOTH, say, "This is me." We become blind to our true inner self, the divine spark, and come to identify completely with the mask, the illusion. This system demands worship. It measures your worth in likes, followers, and engagement. It's YALDABAOTH on a pocket scale, and we become archons to one another. Policing the illusion, the anxiety and depression that arise from this disconnection, that is the modern soul prison. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the I that is posting, the I that checks notifications. Now, go deeper. Ask who is observing this, i.e., that silent observer, that is Gnosis. your divine spark, immune to the blindness. This brings us to the third and most important key, the messenger. If Yaldabaoth is the blind jailer, who is the Gnostic Christ? In the traditional view, Jesus is the Lamb. He is the Son obedient to the Father, Yaldabaoth, fulfilling the prophecy, dying on the cross to complete the blood transaction. His message is one of obedience and faith. But the hidden code of Nag Hammadi presents us with a radically different figure. The Gnostic Christ is not the Lamb. He is the flash of light. He is an emissary from the Pleroma, a rebel. His mission is not to fulfill the laws of the FIFO false god. It is to break them. He did not come to be sacrificed. He came as an instructor. Yaldabaoth's blindness created a frequency of sleep, an illusion that makes the divine sparks trapped in matter forget their origin. The Gnostic Christ is the cosmic alarm clock. Look at the Gospel of Thomas, one of the purest Nag Hammadi texts. It is a Gnosis manual. Jesus says, "I am the light that is over all things. I am the All. From me the All came forth, and to me the All extended. Split a piece of wood. I am there. Lift the stone, and you will find me there." This is not an external savior. This is an instructor pointing to the divine within you. He says, "The kingdom of the Father is spread out upon the earth, and men do not see it." Why don't they see it? Because of Yaldabaoth's blindness. They are looking at the finger, the religion, the dogma, instead of where it points, the Pleroma. The Gnostic Christ doesn't say, "Believe in me and you will be saved." He says, "Whoever finds the interpretation of these sayings will not taste death." He demands work. The crucifixion, for the Gnostics, was not the plan of salvation. It was the reaction of the system. They killed the messenger, but Gnosis cannot be contained. And what is the modern trap that stops us from hearing this instructor? The noise, the distraction, consumerism. The system of the false god no longer burns texts. It floods you with irrelevant information. If the Gnostic Christ says, "Look within," the Archon system says, "Look at this. Look at the next product, the next series, the next outrage." Consumerism is the modern tool for maintaining the blindness. It convinces you that fullness, Pleroma, can be bought. It keeps you so busy, you don't have the energy for the decoding the Gospel of Thomas demands. You are kept on the surface of the illusion. Do this micro-practice. Think of one thing you want right now. Now, feel the sensation of wanting, that little tension, that void. Recognize it. That is the frequency of the illusion. Yaldabaoth is deficiency. The Pleroma is fullness. Now, take a deep breath and say internally, "I am not my hunger. I am the fullness that observes this hunger." Feel the shift. You just reclaimed your power from the Faltriwar, the false god. You have seen the conspiracy. You have seen the mechanism of the blindness and the true identity of the Rebel Instructor. Now, the practical part. How do we activate this Gnosis? This is the technology of the soul. It is the escape manual the Gnostic Christ left us. I call it the threefold spark activation. The problem is this: we live in amnesia. Yaldabaoth's blindness is contagious. We forget who we are and identify with the prison. The solution is Gnosis, remembrance. Step 1, the Archon diagnostic, or the radical stop. You cannot escape a prison whose bars you cannot see. The first step is to stop blindly participating in the illusion. The practical action is the Chadi Tradur Sadi Drans, shadow of the Demiurge journal. Observe yourself like a scientist. Every time you feel a wave of blind emotion, jealousy, rage, social media anxiety, fear, stop and write it down. But do not judge, just observe. When you feel jealousy, do not say, I am jealous. Say, I am observing the frequency of jealousy passing through me. Jealousy is YALDABAOTH'S signature. It is not you. By doing this, you begin to separate the signal from the noise. You are identifying the bars. Step 2. The internal decoding, or the spark reading. The Gnostic Christ did not leave a church. He left codes. The kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you. After identifying the noise in step 1, you now tune into the signal. The practical action is the true Salihun meditation. Take one saying from the Gospel of Thomas, for example, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Sit in silence for 10 minutes. Do not think about this sentence with your logical mind. The logical mind is YALDABAOTH'S tool. Instead, feel the sentence. Let it drop into your chest, into your spar, or spark. What is within you? The Piter Citro spark of the Pleroma. Bringing it forth means living from that inner sovereignty. Your analytical mind cannot save you. Only your inner Gnosis can. You are not praying to an external God. You are consulting the divine within you. Step 3. The sovereign rebellion, or the conscious. Tuni, Gnosis demands action. Remembrance is an act of rebellion. YALDABAOTH'S system runs on your consent, your energy. He is a blind parasite. The practical action is the sovereign no. This is the real-world application of steps 1 and 2. When you are in the world and the Archon Journal, step 1, shows you a bar, and the spark reading, step 2, gives you clarity, you must now act. When the news cycle demands your fear, you say, I see the illusion. I do not consent, and you turn it off. When social media demands your envy, you say, this is the blindness. I do not consent, and you close the app. When dogma demands your blind faith, Pistis, you say, my loyalty is to the Gnosis within, not your external authority. I do not consent. This is not a prayer for help. It is a declaration of sovereignty. Every time you withdraw your energy from the illusion, you direct it back to your divine spark. You stop feeding the false god and start nurturing the God within you. This is the rebellion. We began this journey in paranoia, in the shadow of the lie of sacrifice. We decoded the suppressed code. We saw that YALDABAOTH'S blindness is not just the origin of the Pied Porte, the false god, but the mechanism of our prison. But then, the Rebel Instructor appeared, the Gnostic Christ, who came not as a lamb to the slaughter, but as a light to pierce the darkness. He did not offer us faith, he offered us Gnosis. He gave us the technology of the soul to see the bars, tune into our spark, and declare our sovereignty. The Prekikirehinhededutron City, the false god, only has power over you as long as you believe his illusion. The title of this video is no longer a threat. It is your escape map. The Gnostic Christ was not sacrificed. He was the first to escape and to leave the path marked for us. He proved that the blindness can be overcome. The rebellion begins now, not on a battlefield, but within your own consciousness. In the comments, if you are ready to awaken, declare, I see the illusion. Activate your Gnosis. Share this code with another sleeping soul. Now that you know the Rebel Instructor gave you the key, will you remain in prison out of politeness? You are not YALDABAOTH'S flaw. You are the living memory of the Pleroma.